Hello and welcome to the channel. Today I want to talk about Callisto Protocol and specifically the woodchopper level in the Habitat Dome area. And if you guys watched my previous video regarding Callisto, I said that the woodchopper section of that level of the first section was pretty memorable. And looking around the level, I couldn't help but notice the fact that there were some platforms up top. So if you looked up a little bit, you would actually see that there is some areas up top that, of course, Callisto being Callisto, it wasn't really developed on for whatever reason. Of course, we all know that the development for that game went through a lot of trouble. So then again, I decided to see if I could try and maybe redesign it, retweak some of the stuff, remix some of the stuff here and there, and see what I can come up with. Of course, it's no, like I said, it's no genius idea or anything. I'm sure developers or many of you guys watching this video would probably have much better idea than what I can even begin to muster. But anyways, here we go. So I thought, hey, maybe instead of the one action path that you can take through that particular level, why not add a stealth path to it as well, which actually will bring you up to the upper level and add some elevation to it, right? So I think elevation would kind of help. But anyways, I decided to add that stealth path there and add the wooden logs that you see strewn about the original level in there as well, as to help with the stealth, because the enemies that you see up top are the blind ones that you come across later in the game, but I decided to basically introduce them here much earlier on because I think those kind of enemies should have been introduced much earlier on, and these guys can be leveraged in a variety of ways. One of it being here as a stealth section on top of the action path that you can take. So it's not just a forced stealth section that the players have to go through. They have the choice. They have the choice basically to go through either the stealth path or the action path, right? So the action path is basically the one that is more direct, and basically what's going to happen in the action path is that you, of course, take on the enemies. You use the canisters to blow them up if you so choose, or you can use again your grip module to throw the enemies into the fans, right? But of course, there is no giant saw blade in the middle of the level for you to leverage. That's only reserved for the stealth path, only for the players who want to take the stealth route. Maybe it's a little bit riskier than the direct path. Of course, each path has its own risks and rewards, so that's what I wanted to play on, right? So in the action path, towards the end, once you take on all the enemies, one of them drops this fuse, right? So this fuse can be used to gain access to the door at the end. So basically, you would put that fuse in, similar to how it works in the original game, and the door opens, and now you have access to the hidden loot box that you really can't access. You really can't have access to it if you have chosen the stealth path. Now, what's the advantage of the stealth path, you might ask? So I decided to put that little control panel up there, and I call it chopper control for the sake of this video. Okay, so once you have navigated around the enemies, or you have basically took them all out, because I think maybe we can just keep them as dumb as they are in the original game. But anyways, once you have dealt with the enemies, once you have dealt with the stealth section, now you get the reward of interfacing with that console. So what that console does is basically it will bring down the safety net, the safety pylons, whatever you want to call them, around the chopper, around the wood saw, let's just say. And once they are brought down, the wood chopper starts to obviously spin, right? So the blades are spinning, but Callisto, again, it's a lore thing as well, because Callisto and the whole Black Iron prison is basically in this chaos, destruction, disaster mode. The control panel doesn't work properly, and it short circuits, and then the blades will spin quite faster as they would normally do. So that would cause the blades to basically spin a lot faster, and they would generate enough torque and enough, let's just say, power that all of the enemies standing near it will be kind of sucked towards it, right? And that's how they will be dealt with. And after all the enemies are sucked towards it, the blades obviously stop working because they have taken damage, right? Now they're damaged, they've stopped working. Of course, I really didn't get a chance to draw that in this thumbnail because there wasn't enough space. But of course, maybe later I will come down to it as well, and maybe I'll add like a little call out of the blades that are turning. But anyways, that was my thought process regarding this. So if you take this stealth route, of course, in the beginning it's going to be a little bit maybe tedious, let's just say. But at the same time, when you reach the console, you will have the reward of taking on a huge chunk of enemies just with interfacing with the console, and now you can go through the level faster. But there is one caveat, and that there is no fuse this time around. So you won't have access to the fuse, and you won't therefore not have access to the hidden loot box that is basically locked behind that door, right? So we have to kind of try to balance things out here. Maybe add a little bit more of, value and replayability. So that way, next time around when you come across this area, you want to choose a different path, right? So again, in the top, let's just say in the upper section of the level, there's also, as you can see, like a character who's hanging off the ledge, right? Who's hanging off the railings, and that's where I decided to put a lore file. So you can also, that adds more incentive, in my opinion, to roam around the levels, maybe to navigate it a little bit more. And yeah, that's what I was thinking about. That was my thought process regarding the whole stealth part of the game. And while I was drawing it, I decided to add another hidden junction box, and this was, now it could be used for the same door that is locked, or looking back it could be used for another door, but because obviously I did not have enough space here, I know I should probably add more stuff to it later. But anyways, for the sake of this video, let's just say that it can still control the same door, but the caveat being that you would need a grip module upgrade for it to work. Now, how would that basically be worked into the game? I was thinking maybe for those people who decided to go the stealth route, there's also a way for them to gain access to the rewards that is locked behind the door. But in order for them to have access to it, of course, they need to have previously installed a grip module upgrade in order to interface with that hidden junction box, and then being able to open the door and have access to the loot box therein, let's just say. So yeah, that was a little thing that I came up with while I was basically drawing it. So yeah, this was my whole thought process regarding Callisto Protocol's wood chopper wood saw level. And again, I think that not only does this add a little bit more replayability, I think it adds a little bit of backtracking as well, for those players who chose the stealth path and did not have access to the fuse. I think it's kind of similar to how it was done in RE4 Remake and how the levels were done in that game, because they were more open-ended. You had the ability to backtrack, you had the ability to come across these unique keys that would open up either drawers or some other types of locks that were unique to that type of key again. So that added a level of variety and a level of gameplay expression, let's say, to the game. And I really welcomed it, I really liked it. That's why I see myself just coming back to Resident Evil 4 Remake here and there, and I really enjoy that game. So yeah, that's where my thought process was regarding this Callisto Protocol level. If you guys enjoy my content, hey, maybe consider sharing, subscribing, liking the video, commenting. I would welcome any and all engagement with my content, and it would really mean a lot for me to have a communication with you guys, whether it be through comments, whether it be through you guys subscribing. It would genuinely mean a lot to me. But anyways, I'm not gonna harp on this any longer. Have a great day, have a great night, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and bye.